Methamphetamine is a stimulant. It's prone to extreme highs. It was a very, very pleasant experience, but in the morning I was drained. Oxycodone, it's a opioid that induced a sort of mellow effect. Ephenidine, it's a dissociative. Changa, it's a psychedelic drug. Heroin, I found that to be enjoyable. However, I vomited after a few hours. The worst experience, nutmeg, which is a spice used on food, but if you consume more of it, you enter a delirious state. Basically, you've been poisoned. It never even occurred to me that I would do anything like this. I thought maybe I will take the odd drug occasionally. If the circumstances presented themselves, perhaps take lots and lots of drugs. I'm Dominic Milton Trott. Over a 10-year period, I self-administered 157 different psychoactive drugs and wrote a book called The Drug User's Bible, documenting the vital safety information for each. I led a relatively normal life. Got a job as a programmer, worked for a bank, started an internet company, a startup. Eventually got to that time of life where I started reflecting upon there's got to be more to living than this. I was asking fundamental questions about the nature of life and reality, and that's what led me into researching psychedelics. And there was references to a drug called ayahuasca, a botanical, and that produces a 4 or 5 hour visionary experience. And it was during the research for that particular adventure, obviously the forums and the social media platforms, it was hard to miss the fact that posters would occasionally just disappear off the radar. They'd made a mistake and they died. And that's when it started to occur to me that there's a real problem here. And the problem is that people are dying of ignorance. They're dying because they're making fundamental mistakes. It was so obvious that this was a lack of fundamental access to data, safety data, and if I could actually make something more fundamental and deeper, like a book, it might make a difference and save some lives. It was then a case of what drugs are people taking? What are the popular drugs? The Drug User's Bible includes the onset time, the duration, appropriate dosage, and anything else which might be central to mitigate and reduce the risk of users. I provide a subjective experience report of what it was like for me. The reason that's important is, firstly, give people a feel for what it's going to be like, but also have some sort of idea of how much loss of subjectivity they're going to actually experience. Is there a compulsion to take more? Am I going to lose my sensibilities in terms of balance? Am I going to be safe in a public place? I developed a process, a procedure, the 10 commandments of safer drug use, to follow rigorously to try and reduce whatever risk there is with whatever drug you were taking. Number 1, research, research, research. You're going to take a drug. If you are going to do that and embark on that course, know what you're taking, know what its effects broadly are likely to be. Test it is a specific third step, and the reason it is however confident you are in your supplier, you can't be 100%. A lot of drugs have different effects dependent upon how much you take. And always remember that you can take more, you can't take less. A lot of the time you're putting a strain upon your body, your heart, your organs and yourself. If you're already feeling ill or you're not quite well, don't do it. Things do go wrong, and if you do have a problem, if you become ill or there's an issue or you overdose, then the first thing that the emergency services need to know is, what have you had? So it's a wise precaution to have that somewhere prominent on your body. Ignorance kills, and it certainly does in this arena. If your son or daughter are going to take a drug, would you prefer that they went into this blind without any safety knowledge at all, or would you prefer that they were armed with risk mitigation procedures, accurate dosing information, onset values, and all the data that will help them to take it and navigate it safely? All these people are dying. I'd have had to carry that with me if I hadn't have done the book. That was the entire objective of the book, and I know to some degree it's been successful, but obviously there's huge potential for it to save a lot more lives.